You know what's more effective though? You telling your personal story.
Like I know that.
That like now, like,
bro, you don't even know you're getting to know my personal story. You know, I hope to be able to share some stuff today.
Please.
Yeah,
that's why you're here. Like, I genuinely want to know.
You know, so you know, my kids asked why, and a lot of what I shared on the apology video was just kind of a replica of what I shared with my kids. But really, I think what it all comes down to, like the real why, is, you know, I got to crush myself in the gym multiple times a day, just to feel like I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm worth it, like I fucking earned it, you know, and trust me, this is not like just one time a day. Like this is multiple times a day. And somebody said, okay, why do you gotta do all that shit? You know, and I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I've never dealt with this before. And again, this is a silver lining. Now I have the chance to go deep.
Yeah.
When I talk about my 10 to 15-year-old self, when you guys fucking understand, you know, the first day of middle school for me was some fucking guy who looked like he was 35 with a mustache and everything. Hawks a loogie on his fucking hand, smacks me in the face, and I didn't know what the fuck, where I was. But what would happen at least once a week is I just got blindsided, I'd get knocked out, and I would wake up, and I'd have my book bag, the bell had already rung, nobody's in the hallway, and I gotta figure out, okay, what fucking period is it? You know, and this is my entire fucking middle school. Not once did I stand up for myself. Not once did I fight back or push. And when the guys would come, I would just walk back, step back, and say, you don't want to fight me, I'm a pussy. And this is true, you know, and I thought for years, I was like, I'm gonna take that shit to the grave. You know, I think a real defining moment for me was in middle school. This kid, Chris, challenged me to a fight. For him to enter into a gang, he had to get into a fight. So some people told me about this thing, and I'm like, well, why would I do that? Well, I've never gotten in a fight. You think I'm gonna fight in front of a whole fucking gang and do all this shit, you know? And so I immediately was like, of course I'm not gonna do this. You know, my brother happened to be around, who's an older brother. He was with a friend, Justin, and his mom. And his mom said, you have to do this. And my dad died when I was a little kid, and I don't have any memory of him. I had never had a male mentor in my life, but she said, you gotta do this. Justin said, you gotta do this. My brother said, you gotta do this. Hey, you're strong. And I'm thinking, I can't believe you guys are fucking tricking me into doing this. She drives me to the fight in her white Econoline van. And I remember getting out of this van, my heart was beating 1,000,000 miles a fucking minute. I see him, I see it looked like 30 people, I'm sure it was 15 behind him. And I remember walking up to him really fast. And I remember I'm just gonna give it everything I got. And I came a mile fucking back here, and I was probably a mile away from this guy, and I swung so fucking hard, I threw myself to the ground. So I'm on the ground, he's coming up to me, you know, to kick me, and everyone wore steel-toe boots back then. And so he's coming up to kick me, and as he's coming up to kick me, I picked him up, and I manhandled him, and I realized how fucking strong I am. And then I was able to mount him, and I was able to pin his elbows, his arms under my knees, and I had my left hand on his neck, and I had my right hand cocked back, and I looked in his eyes, and I saw how helpless, how hopeless, how pathetic, how scared he was. And I saw myself, and I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't do it. And I remember getting up, kind of running back to the van, and when I got in, everyone was kind of proud of me. You know, everyone was throwing rocks at the van. The windshield got cracked, and I was so worried about her van. And she looked back at me. Justin's mom looked back at me, and she's like, she said she's proud of me. And you know what I knew right then? I was like, you know what is fucking worthless? Is I had felt what seemed like my whole life.
Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
And if I could do that, what else am I capable of doing?
So that was the spark.
You know what? Again, I know I haven't dealt with this because...
Wait, did you get to join the gang? Like, how did...
No. And sometimes I think, God damn, I should have just done it. I would have gotten so much more respect if I had just done that. And that guy, when I let him up, he didn't come after me because he fucking knew.
You knew what time it was, yeah.
He knew.
I have way more respect for you doing it like that. I could fuck you up. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But you know what, like, so I doubled down then on working. I'd already been working out for a while.
Right.
But now I doubled down on that. You
Yeah.
know, now I'm like, oh my God, I can actually control outcomes in my life. And well, fast forward all these years, that's not changed. You know, it's like, I still need to do that to feel, I don't go to sleep at night feeling pathetic. What I do is what's required of me to do is to kill myself, to crush myself, to destroy myself enough times to be like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, like to me, this is way more relatable, and I think that I think you said a couple things.
Well, first of all, I didn't know any of this.
Of course, you're processing it. You're becoming.
Well, people
self-aware.
are asking why, and I'm like, well, I don't know, because I got to get in the gym. Well, why do you got to do that? I'm like, I don't fucking know until
recently.
Yeah.
But I think you said something interesting. Like you grew up without a father. You didn't have So to me, you're becoming like the almost cartoonish version of what a man is, right? But it's lacking the vulnerability that we connect with.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
And like a lot of times we don't notice that. Like I remember with my wife, I'll tell you a personal story with my wife. We were trying to have a kid. The first month we're trying to have a kid. We didn't have a kid. The first month. My wife is a little bit type A or whatever that shit is. Like it needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful we didn't have a kid first because I was doing a lot of drugs earlier in that month. So our kid would have been fucking whack, right? Like that.
Yeah.
But
that's how all of ours were conceived. We were partying like crazy, by the way. That's why they are the way they are.
Well, look at there.
No actual drugs, just a lot of alcohol. You look great, by the way.
Good cover up. Liver Queen, calm down.
Did you see her? Oh my God.
Like alcohol. Yeah. Okay, but so we got this test done on my sperm, right? And my sperm is great except for like grade of motility or something like that. I don't even know what the fuck it is. She's calling around, it's how fast they swim or something like that. She's freaking out, right? And my reaction to her is machismo. It is, hey, we're gonna be great. Don't worry, we got this. I'm like, if you want to do more tests or go to a specialist, but don't worry, I know for a fact we got this. She's interpreting that as I'm not taking this seriously.
You don't care.
And I don't care. What I'm doing is covering up my vulnerability, which is, will she not love me if I can't get her pregnant? Will she think I'm less of a man? Will my wife not be attracted to me? So I'm trying to cover up the real feeling I have, right? Which is being terrified that the woman I love could stop loving me because I can't do this fucking primal thing. I shared that with her the other night. She fucking started crying. So I would never think differently, whatever. And I wish that I led with the vulnerability. To me, I'm really glad that you're coming on right now and like saying the true reasons why you're even pushing this lifestyle. It's to cover something up. You said that it was like 85% of people deal with like low self-esteem. You're wrapping your self-esteem into something that I think is unhealthy. Yeah. You have a wife, you have a family, you have successful businesses. You don't need to lift heavy shit 2 times a day to feel good about you. Were you a good dad that day?
Yeah.
Were you good to your friends? Did you care about people?
Yeah.
Did you provide for people? Like, those are the things that I'm looking at and going, that's a king, not someone who can fucking bench press.
Yeah.
Because if bench pressing makes you a man, what the fuck am I? But I think I'm a good man.
Yeah.
So maybe part of the ancestral tenets is recognizing what you're doing and how you are being a good man, which is providing and loving the people and caring for the people around you.
Right.
Maybe that's something that you need to take note of, man. And
Beautiful.
Leading with that fucking vulnerability that has really transformed this interview.
Yeah.
You telling me the things you went through, all the suicides that you had to deal with, made that real, not an excuse when you said it. I think vulnerability is the only thing we can connect to as human beings. We look up to the person who seems infallible, but we don't connect to them.
No.
I feel more connected to you now, man.
Thank you for sharing.
Despite your stink.